working the bugs out as being the first real start and letting it run. It's been running all day since like 5 p.m. or so. Right now it's 8:31. Sounds good too. All right, here's the rundown. This is the longest I've had it running since I put the antifreeze in it today. And I got the pipes are installed. And trying to get all the kinks out of it. It was, it had stalled when I put it in drive, but I'm thinking maybe that's got to do with tuning, because if I raise this up, of course it doesn't stall because there's no load, and if I step on the gas, they spin faster. So tranny is working fine, but I gotta, I guess, get the fluid rolling, because the fluids weren't rolling before, but I gotta figure that out. I couldn't get it to start before on the first crank because I didn't have my wires for the fuel pump connected properly. So remember, I had pulled the motor out after I had hooked everything up. But it runs really good. It runs really good. I probably shouldn't walk in front of it because it's on jack stand. It runs real good. All right, so we've got our first test fit after the pipes being welded, and I would say it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Connects pretty good there. Comes up. All I gotta do now, put the clamps on, but I gotta take this back off, make sure there's no pieces of metal sitting inside these. But look at that, it's a nice clean weld there. Probably should give it a tap of I got any spray paint to cover some of these weld spots. I don't want them rusting up. And then look at this one. Look at that, nice smooth weld. Now this one is a kind of a pain in the butt because of the angle that it has to go. It has to go from here to there. I've got to change this connection there. That boot is too big. It's a perfect in length, but the diameter is too fat. I need it to be 3 inches, but I think that definitely will work. So now take them back off and I'll show you what they look like fresh. And here's what they look like. Pretty good weld, especially because it was on an angle, so pretty good. And this came out good. That's why I took it out, because I need to clean out the metal shavings that got in there from cutting it. So I'm gonna paint this just a tab. I'm not gonna go nuts. And let's look at this one. Let's see. And then this one, that is pretty good, man. Look at that. That is pretty good. This is all done by hand. All right, so this might be too short, might need a longer one, but this diameter is perfect. And of course this side goes to that other side there. So pretty good, pretty good. All right, we're gonna put these in, not now because the sun is beaming and it's probably like 90 degrees now. And but afterwards I'm gonna put it in as soon as I get some shade, and I'll I'll run a vacuum on the coolant system, make sure that there's not going to be any leak. Then I'm going to start putting in the fluids and turn this puppy on. All right, so I put the pipes in. They're bolted down with the clamps. And this side, this is how it fits. That's how close it fits without a connecting rubber boot there. That's not too bad. I think that's pretty good actually. So we're gonna strap her up. We're gonna run a vacuum, and we're gonna run a vacuum on the cooling system. Run a vacuum on the cooling system, and then we're gonna see if we have any leaks in the radiator system. If not, we're gonna load her up with antifreeze and get ready to crank her up. Okay, so everything is tight. The intake system is all secured. Start on this side, we'll get the other side. It's all secured. And we come to this side. That's how it sits in there. And of course it runs back. Let's see if I get a good shot. See, it runs back to the turbo there. It's a tight fit, but it fits. And I chopped the battery. There's a holder here, which is supposed to hold this, but we could use the extra couple centimeters, so that works out. And this end, all right, this end is like so. It's all tight, runs underneath like factory. So all I gotta do now is just put my bolts back in. But before I do that, I'm gonna run a vacuum, like I keep saying. And then we're gonna throw the antifreeze in. All right, just ran a vacuum. And I've been sitting, I was gonna go to 25, but I said, I'll just stop. Because it was taking, wasn't taking a long time, but I didn't wanna overstress my, my air compressor. Because I'm just using a little baby one, not a big shop one. Anyway, it's holding, so there's no leak in the coolant system. So let's hook it up with antifreeze. We got antifreeze. We've got steering fluid that I'm putting in. And everything looks good. And got the powers now powered up. So the only thing is, I pulled the motor, if you remember recently, to fix that oil leak. And I did disconnect the fuel lines. So I'm wondering, is the motor, the injectors from the pump to the injectors, are the lines, did the lines bleed down, or is the VP pump still holding pressure on the injectors? I'm hoping they are, so I don't have to bleed the injectors and can just crank and it'll turn on. All right, let's find out. All right, we got key on power. We don't have no complaints from the system about security. That is good. And let me go and do one more check that I got the engine, everything plugged in. Yep. Swap helper is plugged in. The engine computer got power. I got my red dot there. So let's hit it to see what it does. I'm gonna put 2 key on cycles since I did pull the motor and the fuel would have been drained out. All right, here we go. All right, so I finally realized why it would not start, And remember, I had a safety on here, which will let me know when it won't start. If I don't see two LEDs, I got two LEDs down there. What happened is, remember I pulled the motor out. So when I pulled the motor out, I didn't put the wires back on properly. So I just did that, verified the pump is now working. So let's try again, see if it'll start. There we go. All right. Let's let her run. The exhaust is not hooked up. Letting it run, see what it does. I shut it down and I turned it right back on, turned on fast, so that's good. Turned on normal. I don't know why I got the battery light on. I gotta find out about that because I just checked the volts and it's charging, and before I didn't have the light, so I don't know why my light's on. I gotta see if it's because this thing has two alternators stock, so I gotta see. Throttle works when I push the throttle pedal, so that sounds good. I lifted the wheels and put it in drive. As you can see, self-explanatory. So the train does move.